Oh, how you doing today? I do hope you're having a good day. It's a Knife Tale here with a review of a knife today. This is the Rike knife, Thor number 7. Yes, there have been 7 different iterations of this knife, and this is number 7. Actually, there may have even been more than 7, but no, I think this might be the latest iteration of it. And what are we looking at here? Real quick, we're looking at titanium, an integral piece of titanium, one solid piece, but it's only this, right? And you've got a liner down here, but only pretty much on this side for the lock bar. I don't even know if that's attached to the... I don't even know if that's attached. I haven't taken it apart. Then you got G10 back here, and in the case of the blade steel, you have 154 cm, and this is a relatively early one. This one's numbered, so 110. Let's get into specs, and then we'll start talking about this knife, because there's a number of interesting things about this knife, and there's a number of things that really make this knife surprisingly good. Yeah. Just unique things about it. About 3.5 inches of blade, in fact, almost on the dot. 8 1/4 overall, so that should come to 4 3/4, which it does. Very good. Very consistent, very even numbers there. Like on the dot for standard measurement sort of thing. Comparison knives. Civivi Elementum for the small, and Civivi Conspirator for the full-size knife. And as you can see, this is a slightly larger knife. It's got a little bit more blade length than the Conspirator, but just a tiny bit. It does have some more handle length in this slightly longer, elongated shape, but it's definitely still a full-size knife. It's not huge. It's not small. It does get pretty compact when you fold it up, though it's still almost as tall as the Conspirator with the flipper tab. And our final comparison will be for grip. As usual, 2 AA batteries, which you have almost exactly 2 AA batteries worth of grip. So if you're concerned about how much is going to fit in your hand, then there you go. I would imagine most people, if they can grip around 2 AA batteries and probably have a little bit of extra room. So you're probably not going to struggle for grip size here. Thickness. That could be a little bit tricky. Where is it thickest? I'm not going to measure from the 2 pivots, because that's technically where it's thickest, but that's also just right there. 556 thousandths there. A little bit under 1/2 inch there. So you got a little bit of variance, but a little over 1/2 inch in thickness. Not too thick, not too thin. Another area where it's going to be hard to measure is because of all of this bio. Well, it's sort of like organic sculpturing on the blade spine. 135 thousandths, I want to say. Yeah, it looks like right about... yeah, 135 thousandths on the blade stock, we'll call that. And behind the edge is quite fine, actually. I imagine the edge bevel is only about 20... it's probably about 20 degrees per side. But behind the edge, wow, yeah, 8,000? Seriously? I've never measured this behind the edge before. 8 to 9 thousandths behind the edge. That is super, super fine. That's an aggressively thin edge. And yes, I can say that this thing definitely does cut. I didn't realize how thin it was behind the edge. Yeah, that's an aggressively thin edge. In fact, that's so thin that just leave that at like 20 degrees per side or 25 degrees per side even, and you'll still probably get amazing performance out of it. The geometry is just that good. There's no real reason to lay back the edge bevel because you're going to end up with something so thin that it's going to start getting fragile. Just tips, right? Hardware is T8 pivot, though I will admit it is not the tightest T8. But I don't think it's a T9. I'm pretty positive it's a T8. It's just kind of not milled super deeply there. Or machined, or whatever you want to call it. The rest is T6. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Weight is 3.19 ounces. So you're getting more than an ounce an inch. This is extremely good for ratios. The weight of this knife is very little. It is actually forward heavy slightly, though only slightly. Yeah. It's only like, you grab here, it's like right up here is where the actual balance point is. It is super light and deft and nimble, and the handle basically feels like it doesn't even exist. And that's because, you know, it's just all G10 here with... There's a tiny bit of titanium that sticks off the back end of this, and there's the titanium liner in here that only goes this far, and it's just basically the lock bar and a little bit of steel. And I can't tell if it's even attached. Yeah, it's got to be one piece. I mean, this is all integral. This forward bolster thing is just an integral piece of titanium. Beyond that, not much else there. So that finishes up the specs section. Moving into the actual knife itself. You've got this sort of blasted kind of finish here with a swedge, and as I mentioned, a lot of organic sculpturing on here, but it's finely milled. Like you can see some of the mill lines right there. And it's all knocked down and smooth, so it's not like sharp or anything like that. It is bumpy, but not bad. You 100% though can use that to reverse flick this knife. I have zero issues with that. This grabs you just enough because this part of the spine, the spine on the spine, is thicker than these connecting inner tissue areas. So, yeah, you have an actual thicker piece to grip onto right there. It works, but if you don't want to do that, you still have the flipper tab, which works wonderfully, which we'll talk about in a second. But before that, you got sort of a modified Wharncliffe blade shape. Pokey tip, thin, great tip access. 154 cm is a solid steel. It's low mid. It's sort of like mid tier to high budget tier steel. You have Thor 7. I don't necessarily care to see the name printed on there. In fact, but it's so small and it's in fancy print. I'm not going to complain too much about that. And this, don't mind. The plunge grind, yes, it sort of hits the edge, but as you can see, it actually stops back here, so it's giving you a little bit of life. You not only have a tiny bit in front of it, just barely, but you have a decent amount below it where you're not actually hitting the plunge grind, so you're going to be able to sharpen the thing up to there before you actually start having to worry about really hitting plunge. And there's no... The stop pin is this, right? So you can always expand that, do whatever you want there. I do think you can choke up a little bit to get here. It's not super comfortable. You're certainly not going to want to go there because you're in the edge, but you're not that far away from the edge, and you can definitely choke up a little bit on this flipper tab because of how comfortable it is, which, like I said, we're going to get to in just a second. But, yeah, the plunge grind should be fine. Choke up position is just a little bit further forward. This, also, want to say, looks like it would be very uncomfortable. It is pokey. Like, you don't want to push into it. But just sitting in this position right here, they've knocked it down enough that you're not really going to have too much issues, as long as you're not pushing into it. Just push down onto the knife, and I'm not actually that uncomfortable here. Though, when I actually do hold it in your standard position where you're kind of really supposed to hold it, you're kind of back here. So, yeah, don't worry about that. It's surprisingly not that bad. In fact, when I'm just using this knife, I'm back here, so I don't really even notice it. So, yeah. Now to get to the flipper tab that I mentioned several times, and yes, the flipper tab is amazing. Rike has an amazing flipper tab. They use this style on a lot of their knives, and it's always great. Why it works as well as it does, I don't understand. The jimping is not super sharp, but it's just enough. It's really soft and gentle. It's round, it's big. Yeah, it kind of stands out as something that doesn't go with the rest of the design. But it works so well. Who cares? For some reason, it just grabs you. Maybe it's the rounded nature. When you push into it, you're dispersing both this way and this way force, like your finger. It naturally wraps into it. So you have a little bit of your finger that's wrapping into the under piece. Whatever it is, it gives great grip. It's super comfortable. It always works. It gives great leverage, and the flipping action is wonderful. Push button action, yeah. Rike knows what they're doing with their flipper tabs. You don't got to worry about that. That's what I wanted to say about the flipper tab. That was all the build up for that. Yeah. Rike logo here on the pivot. As you can see, this is where you would access some of the internals because it is like technically integral. This all comes off. The titanium is finished really nice. It's just got a little bit of milling here, and like the whole thing has some micro milling lines on it that you can kind of see. Almost looks orange peel, but there's actually a consistent direction to them. Really nicely executed, really nicely, just bronzed kind of thing. The lock bar access is good. And it sticks out right there. That sort of acts as both your over travel stop and your lock bar insert, which is nice. Good access. Smooth, it is on bearings. It's not the smoothest one, like, you can feel this thing move on the bearings, but I think that's partially because there's not a lot of material to disperse, like the not just the friction, but the, what's the word I'm looking for? The bumps, you know, the impacts. I can't think words today. But because everything is just this small piece of titanium and everything else is tacked onto it, you're getting more feedback through it, so you can definitely feel the bearings move, and I can feel them bumping along and everything. It's still shake shut, and it's still nice. It's just, it does offer a bit of a different feel. I will note that, as it is important, but it's not really like, oh no, it's bad in any way. It's not. The detent is quite good as well. Very snappy. The G10. The G10 is interesting. It is milled with more of this organic shaping. All of it very well knocked down. It is a clamshell back construction. There is a seam there, but it's very hard to see with the way they did the G10. This is not my favorite colorway, I will admit, but when I bought this thing, the site I bought it off made this look more like, it was a little bit lighter, more tannish, like a slightly tannish, maybe a little tiny bit of yellow in the highlights areas. It's more of an olive green in person, so I was thinking it was like a little bit more on the tan. Look, there were some other options for a red one. There was a blue one. I don't know if they've made any more of those original variants, but semi-recently they did have a carbon fiber one that came out. It's probably gone, but it did come out. So they refresh and drop some more here and there. The G10, though, is excellently executed. It's not milled out, but it's just G10. It's super light. You have a very interesting clip that is surprisingly long, but very comfortable in hand. Lots of flex, not a ton of retention, like it's not the tightest gripping clip, but it works. It flexes back to true. It's a good clip. It actually works even over this indented thing. It sits at the top of one of those ribbing kind of pieces, and yeah, it does work surprisingly well. I haven't really seen too much trouble in and out of the pocket. I guess if you have really thick pants, you're always going to run into some issue there, but it's certainly not going to tear up your pants, because this is also soft. It's not a problem. Also, more of that nice milling. Yes. So the only thing left to say about this is the approximate price tag on this thing is, I think these were like $180 in this particular variant, $175, $180, about that. I bought this quite a while ago, and again, I don't know if they've dropped more of these particular variants. It is centered. There's no play. It's a solid knife. Rike is really good about putting out very interesting designs that just like showcase what they're capable of. Is it all necessary? No. But the intricacy, the extra details, I mean, you don't typically get this kind of execution with this sort of mini integral kind of thing at the price range that Rike can offer it. I don't know why they can, but they can. All of their knives are, even their expensive knives, are typically offering a lot of interesting elements for the price. Like, even I have a $420 Rike, and what it's doing for $420 is crazy. And this is kind of no different. Yeah, sure, I wouldn't mind seeing S35 Vienna on this thing instead of 154 CM, but what you're getting here with the rest of this thing, basically a mini integral, it's not only a showcase and showing off what Rike can do, it's definitely justifying its position and placement and price and everything. So this is a really actually good knife. I mean, you look at it and you think, oh, that's all design, but it's not. It does not compromise on the design, but it also does not compromise on the function, which is really nice to see. And Thor 7, and probably any of the Thor series, they all have this sort of organic structuring. Thor 6 is a full integral titanium. Some of the other ones look a little bit different. Some of the earlier ones I guess they probably don't have this. I haven't seen all of them, but a couple of them probably don't have some of this organic. It's a weird name for a sort of biological looking knife. You hear Thor and you think more of a, well, you think lightning, right? You think resounding, striking, sharp, straight lines, and less this, but who cares? It's a cool knife. And, yeah, that's what it is. It's a cool knife. So, I'm going to call the review here. This is a positive one. I appreciate anybody who stuck around and listened through my stumbling. I'm definitely having some trouble talking today. The allergies are rough. And, consider liking, subscribing, etc. Help me grow the channel, share, that sort of thing. I greatly appreciate it. Let me know your feedback. I want to improve. Nobody ever seems to leave. I mean, I don't have a lot of viewers. I know that. I get it. I have very few subscribers relatively to most channels. I'm a very, very small, early channel. I've been around for, what? 7, 8 months, maybe? Just doing this little thing, and I'm not like pumping on the shorts or anything like that to really bolster my numbers that fast, right? And who knows, I'm probably not a very interesting person, or I'm not, maybe I'm not doing a very good job. I don't know, but I need to know that, right? So, let me know your thoughts. On the knife, on the channel, on life. Hey, what if you need to talk, just say something. That's going to be it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. And hopefully you get something somewhere along the lines out of watching one of my videos, should you choose to do so. See you later. Have a good day.